That's yours. I'll try to knock it over.
Everyone is standing to the side. It would be really good if people could flock into the actual oval and be facing us. That would be wonderful. So rather than have everybody at the back, can everybody kind of come into the oval over here?
What?
And also, can Galia Hartman please come to the front? Thank you. Okay, we're about to start, but just for everybody's information, if anybody needs Hatzalah, they are parked directly on the road where I'm pointing now. So if anybody needs Hatzalah, they're right over there. Thank you, Hatzalah. Thank you, CSG. Thank you, Victoria Police. Thank you, Glenira Council. Thank you, everybody who's made this evening possible. And I'm going to appeal one last time. Can everybody, including Henry Greener, please move in this direction? If I tell you that there's a table set up for Kiddush over here, will you all run over here? Okay, we're about to begin, and to commence this evening's proceedings, I'd like to invite singer Lihi Ashkar to the stage. Thank you. ladies and gentlemen, my name is Eddie Lawrence. I'm the Executive Director of Zionism Victoria. And exactly 400 days ago today, I stood on this very podium to MC the Ride to Bring Them Home rally in Murrumbina, marking 100 days since the 7th of October. Today we mark 500 days. 500 days since 1,200 people were savagely butchered. 500 days since 251 were taken hostage. 500 days that 73 of those hostages are still in captivity. And 500 days of escalating anti-Semitism on these shores. From the steps of the Sydney Opera House to graffiti on our schools and community centres, to arson at our synagogues, to caravans packed with explosives, to nurses threatening to kill patients. If there's one silver lining, it's been the spirit of unity that over the past 500 days has brought us together here in Melbourne, Jews, Israelis, Zionists. 400 days ago, at the Ride to Bring Them Home rally, I was privileged to introduce Nirit Elon, Director of United with Israel. Since Zionism Victoria's very first event at Caulfield Shul on the 9th of October, 2023, Nirit and her dynamic team have worked with us and we with them, not just united with Israel, but united for Israel. 400 days since I first introduced Nirit, well, I'm honored to introduce her again. It's a tragedy that I must do so under these circumstances. But as long as there are still hostages held in Gaza, her message must be heard. None of them must be forgotten, no one left behind.
Shema Israel, my God, you are almighty. You gave me my life, you gave me everything. The pain is overwhelming and there is nowhere to escape. Make it end, for I have no strength left. Today we are marking day 500. In 500 days, a baby has learned to walk and say first words. A university student has completed 3 full semesters of studies. The seasons have changed 5 times. The moon has gone through 16 full cycles. But for the hostages, time has stood still. 500 days of fear, of hunger, of unimaginable suffering. 500 days stolen from innocent men, women, and children. For 500 days, they have been held in darkness, denied their freedom, their families, their dignity, starved and tortured. Every day we learn more and more and more details about the horror the hostages endure. While we have celebrated birthdays, weddings, and milestones, they have endured endless terror. While we've tucked our children into bed, they have spent every night wondering if they will see another day. This past month, the hostages, their family, the Israeli people, and the global Jewish community has felt every emotional possible. From pure joy seeing the hostages return each week, to a total shock when we first see them. Some barely recognizable. Some suffer from visual disability. Some bringing back memories of the dark days of Holocaust. As Jewish people, we are obligated to save every soul, as every soul is a whole world. We are also committed to Pidyon Shvuim, redeeming the hostages. When I grew up in Israel, I knew that whenever I see trouble, I run towards it. Our instinct as humans is to run from danger. But in Israel, we share a deep understanding that no one is left behind. Hamas does not share our values. They know our values, and they use them against us as psychological terror. Every week, we all wait for the names. Every week, we fear that at the last moment, a release might not happen, or worse. The psychological terror takes a toll on all of us. But for the hostages, it's a matter of surviving. Ohad Ben Ami, who was released from Hamas captivity after 492 days, shared a video on Saturday night describing the horrific reality of hostages endure. His message was clear. The hostages suffer physical and psychological terror every day, all day. Even the strongest begin to doubt themselves. The only thing that kept him going was a rare moments he caught glimpsing of rallies. Those moments made him believe that people were fighting for them, and that belief kept him alive. We are here tonight on the other side of the world because every released hostage has told us the same thing. 500 days is far too many. We are here because we cannot be silent, even when we are furthest away. We are here because we are a strong community and we must act now. We need to support the hostages, their families, and our brothers and sisters in Israel. For the hostages, it is till October 7th, until every single one is brought home. They will never be the same person they were before October 7th, but we must ensure they rebuild their life on the path to rehabilitation. We will not give up until no one left behind. Bring them home now. Bring them home alive. 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 Every single one of them. Today you are going to hear from few speakers, a family of hostage, a doctor, and a survivor, so we can all share it. At the end, we are going to send a message to Israel, and we ask you all to be part of it. We're going to stage a photo, a very unique photo. So please don't go, and listen when we instruct you how we want to stage it. Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, Bar Elisha is a courageous member of Kfar Aza's emergency response team. On October the 7th, he was almost kidnapped, but kept fighting for 30 hours, protecting families and rescuing civilians. This evening, he's with us to share a glimpse of what those long hours were like.
Hello everyone. My name is Bar Elisha from Kibbutz Kfar Aza, a member of the emergency response team of the kibbutz. Firstly, I would like to thank you all for everything you have done for us. You have such a beautiful and strong community, and we feel your support all the way back in Israel. It really helps us a lot knowing that we have such good friends in this distant corner of the world. We all have a mission these days. On the front line, across the border, and across the ocean. We must stay united and stick together in these difficult times. Before October 7th, the community of Kfar Aza was blooming. Many young families moved to the kibbutz, many new houses were built, and many young babies were born. Ophir Liebstein, the mayor of the Sha'ar HaNegev Regional Council, who some of them you may know, used to say, living in Kfar Aza is 95% heaven and 5% hell. The people of Kfar Aza are peace-seeking people who never thought that something like this could ever happen. But on October 7th, the gates of hell broke loose. At 6:30 a.m. that morning, the alarms went off. I was alone with my two daughters as my wife was in San Francisco when I started receiving message about terrorists who had intruded into the kibbutz. Even though I understood it might be my last day, I still made the decision to leave my daughters with my neighbors and go out to defend the community. I ran to get my weapon out of the armory, which was already ambushed by the terrorists. Along with me, all 14 members of the emergency response team rushed to the armory, and unfortunately, 7 lost their lives during these battles, including Ophir Liebstein. They were all my best friends. Hamas managed to dismantle the force, and I found myself alone. I was moving through the kibbutz, and at some point, I was being chased by 30 terrorists. I found cover in a warehouse in one of the yards, and the terrorists gathered around me. Unaware I was there. I was sure I was about to get kidnapped, but then they split up and decided to enter the houses around me. I heard doors breaking, gunshots, and explosions. They kept moving from one house to another, and I felt I was surrounded by demons. The only thing I could think of was saving my daughters. I called my neighbors and told them to get out of the kibbutz. They got into their car and by some miracle managed to escape. We were alone for hours. I couldn't believe what was going on. It was apocalyptic. But as I sat there, I felt that God was not willing to let this continue. I felt that he was about to reveal himself to stop this massacre. Although God didn't reveal himself that day, he did send angels to help us. Slowly, help started arriving. A few civilians, police officers, and army soldiers entered the kibbutz. It was a battle of a few against many. But despite that, the mass killing of civilians has stopped. Several hours later that morning, major army forces started to arrive. The terrorists had positioned themselves inside the houses and on rooftops. The soldiers fought heroically, slowly clearing the kibbutz of terrorists and rescuing families. At that point, I realized that God is with us, and that the forces of evil could not overcome the good. Despite all the horrible things that happened that day, thanks to the first responders and the army that arrived at the kibbutz, Hamas couldn't complete their plan, and a much greater disaster has been prevented. Unfortunately, 64 members were killed that day in the kibbutz. Among them were Guy Admoni, my brother-in-law, and Michal Admoni, his mother. Guy held a very sensitive position in the IDF intelligence, and we were very worried that he has been kidnapped. Eventually, he and Michal were found shot in the safe room, hugging each other. 19 people were kidnapped from the kibbutz that day, including women, children, and young and old. By now, 17 of them have returned, but Gali and Zivi are still there. They have been there for 500 days. Together with them, a total of 73 hostages are still in there for 500 days. I witnessed the demons that are holding them captive with my own eyes. To our hostages, every second, every minute, and every day is a 100% hell. We cannot stop until they all return. Bring them home now. Thank you.
Thank you, Bar. Yotam Derry has experienced this war from both the battlefield and the emergency room. Called to defend his country as a soldier and to save lives as an emergency room doctor, he has stood on the front line in every sense. This evening he will share the deep toll that October the 7th has taken on him as a family man, a doctor, and a soldier.
The morning of October 7th began as a quiet, sleepy Shabbat morning. I was at home in Jerusalem with my wife, Ronnie, and our 2-year-old son when the sirens blared. We rushed down to the bomb shelter with our neighbors, struggling to understand what was happening. As the hours passed, the reports started to coming in, and with them the realization that this was not just a war, this was a massacre. The first images of hostages appeared, children clinging to their parents as they were loaded onto Hamas trucks, taken to Gaza like cattle. I'd been called into work. The ER where I served as a specialist emergency doctor, an hour from Otef Aza, was quickly overwhelmed. The wounded poured in from the Nova Festival massacre from the front lines, ambushed commando soldiers, badly hurt and fighting to stay alive. Then another call came, this time from a unit in the IDF. You need to come in, they said. I had a choice to make, go to the ER, which was collapsing under the weight of the wounded, or report to the army, which was in desperate need for frontline medics. I decided to go to the army. As I set out, I was filled with a sense of mission. There was great pride in wearing the IDF uniform and solidarity among the people on the street. I packed my bag and said goodbye to my wife and son, unsure of when I would see them again and when. She begged me not to go, not to leave them alone, but I had no choice. I left home, stuck out my hand, and the first car that stopped was driven by a Mossad agent. He was in shock, repeating to himself over and over, I can't believe this is happening. At the base, the chaos was overwhelming. Alongside other medics and paramedics, we quickly organized a system to evacuate the wounded. We knew medicine, but carrying stretchers under fire, navigating battle zones, that was something we hadn't done in years. We entered Gaza. I couldn't believe it. At 37, with 2-year-old son at home, I was back on the battlefield. After a week without a shower, barely eating, and missing my family desperately, the mental toll was heavy. My wife was fighting her own battle, managing work, parenting alone, and living in fear of that knock on the door delivering the worst news. The news that too many families have received since the nightmare began. After 6 weeks, a knock did come on my wife's door, but it was me standing there. My unit had been hit, and missiles struck our vehicle. Fortunately, we were unharmed, but our vehicle was destroyed. I was released from duty and sent home. I returned to the ER, another front line. Wounded soldiers arrived daily, and every case carried its own tragedy. There was a strong sense of mission in the ER as well, but there were too many heartbreaking moments when soldiers arrived with serious injuries. I especially remember one young, strong soldier from special unit who arrived fighting to stay alive. After desperate efforts, he crashed, and we had to call him his time of death. A great conflict came just a few hours later when I was called to treat a Nukhba terrorist who was brought in. We faced many conflicts in this war, and even among us soldiers, there were debates. Some believed we needed to be in Gaza to pressure Hamas to release the hostages. Others feared we were endangering them, that only negotiated deals would bring them home. Back at the hospital, the mental scars of this war ran just as deep. A Nova survivor was pulled over by police months after the massacre. Terrified, he tried to run, believing Hamas was coming for him again. He arrived at the ER in the middle of a panic attack, believing the horror of that day. This war is unlike any before it. We continue to battle on multiple fronts, on the field, in the hospital, and in our own minds. One night, while leading a shift in the ER, we found ourselves under a massive attack from Iran. Rockets fell as we worked to save lives. But despite everything, we continue. Israel is strong. Israel will survive, rebuild, and thrive. But true healing can only begin when every last hostage is returned. For this, we need you, Jews from Israel and around the world, to keep fighting for their return until the very last one is home. Am Yisrael Chai.
Thank you, Yotam. Ladies and gentlemen, in the wake of the 7th of October, a group of people came together, united by their love of music and looking to express their feelings, the trauma, the despair, the hope, through the medium of song. It was our privilege at Zionism Victoria to give them space to rehearse at Beth Weitzman and a stage on which to perform at our events. True to their name, they sing from their heart, the Halev Choir. Would you please welcome them this evening as they sing one of the anthems of the past 500 days, calling for the hostages to be returned home, Habayata.
Hello everyone. 400 days ago, this choir, this orchestra, sang the exact same song. And who thought for the exact same reason we would be here 400 days later singing the same song?
Ladies and gentlemen, if you're in any doubt about the importance of events like this, as I stepped off the stage after introducing the Halev Choir, I was approached by a couple whose son was killed at Kfar Aza, fighting in the Didavan unit on October the 7th, and they've asked if they can say a few words this evening. Would you please welcome them to the stage?
Good evening, Gil. I was not supposed to speak tonight. I came here just a few minutes ago as I heard this thing is happening. We lost our son, 35-year-old fighter, a hero from Duvdevan unit, one of the best units in Israel. And all I want to do at this moment is just do one thing: salute you all. God bless you all, and we love you, and thank you for being with us.
Ladies and gentlemen, Galia Hartman is not just a voice in this struggle, she is living its painful reality. 3 of her family members were murdered on October the 7th, and 7 were taken hostage. While 6 have returned, 1 remains in captivity, Tal Shaham. Tonight she will share the profound toll this unimaginable ordeal has taken on her and her family.
Days. Who could imagine it would take so long? Just 2 weeks ago, when I was asked to speak at this rally, I thought to myself, though I couldn't even, I was so afraid to even say it out loud, I was sure Tal will be home by now. It was my husband's immediate family that gathered to celebrate Simchat Torah. Ronen's mother, Ruth, who lived just a couple of houses down the road, his sister Sharon, and her daughter Noam, Adi, Avshel and Shoshan's daughter, her husband Tal, their children Naveh and Yahel. They all came for Shabbat dinner at Avshel and Shoshan's house in Kibbutz Be'eri. That night, Ruth returned home and was saved. The rest, 8 of them, were brutally taken from the mamad after enduring horrifying hours, hiding under the bed while gunfire and heavy smoke surrounded them. It took days before we learned that Avshel was murdered on October 7, along with Lilach, Shoshan's sister, and her husband Eviatar, who lived just a few houses away. Later, the family was given the official status of hostages family. At the time, it gave us hope that the 7 family members who were kidnapped were still alive. In the first deal, between the night of November 25th and 26th, 6 were released, the women and children. But they weren't truly free, because Tal is still there. Tal was held separately, and only when Adi was released, she was told that Tal was still there. The story is not over. The nightmare continues. The children know what he is going through because they've been there. They cannot be fooled. They want their father back, and you can see the fear in their eyes. Just a few kilometers from the border of the sovereign state of Israel, scenes that we've only seen from Holocaust testimonies are unfolding right now before our eyes. Tal is part of the current deal, classified under the wounded and sick. He marked his 40th birthday just 2 weeks ago. This is an unimaginable reality, waiting for Hamas to release the list of the 3 hostages to be freed in each phase of the deal. This is heartbreaking and devastating to be part of this cruel selection process. And yet, in a cruel way, it gives us hope that he will be released soon. All should be. In this reality, time does not heal. Every day that passes only makes it harder. The fear that something will happen that will stop the deal. The fear that Tal will be forgotten. It is constant. Time is deadly, as chances for survival in these horrific conditions of captivity diminish with each moment passing. I hold on to hope that everyone in Israel and in the broader Jewish communities is praying for the release of all the hostages while keeping Israel safe. There is no naivety here. We all experience firsthand the deadly consequences of Hamas terror and are a victim of it. I hope we can all unite behind the goal of bringing every single hostage home and then finishing the war with Hamas, regardless of our political views. The only one who don't have time are the hostages. We can still save them and see them walk back home. We all deserve to witness and be part of their return. Am Yisrael Chai.
Thank you, Galia. Ladies and gentlemen, it's all very well us coming together to support each other, but it's equally important that we are seen to come together. For the families of the victims and the hostages in Israel, as we have heard a couple of times this evening, it shows them that they're not alone, that they're supported around the globe. And here in Australia, it shows the Jewish community will not bow to the bullies or hide from the haters. Over the next few minutes, we'll be organizing and taking a photo, an image that will show our cousins in Israel that we are with them, and the public here that the Jewish community stands strong. So I'm now handing over once again to Narit from United with Israel, who will explain what we need to do. After the photo, I would urge you to stay behind for some final remarks and singing the Australian anthem and the Hatikva.
Thank you, Zeddy. Okay, now we need to move quickly because the sun is coming down and we need to make it on time. I need everyone to stand up. There is a blue line rope on the grass. Stand behind it. Go further out, back. But I need everyone. No one is staying here behind. Everyone have to go there because we see everyone that is on the grass. Fantastic.